Hello, and you're all very welcome along to the latest Champ.ie podcast, Ireland's premier horse racing podcast in association with Doyle Sports, Gowran Park, EJ Menswear, Shamrock Thoroughbreds, Midland Travel and McCafferty's traditional Irish bars.
They're coming to the final fence in the 25 Govs Trieste. Nick Rocket lands in the lead from Velvet Elvis, gone well clear of Favori de Shondu and Bushman's Pass. They're well strung out. Nick Rocket on the stand side for win number 10 in the race for Willie Mullins.
Enter our Champ.ie headline competition in association with Midland Travel, where you could win a trip for two to the Cheltenham Festival 2026. For a chance to win, simply subscribe to the Champ.ie podcast on YouTube if you haven't already, and scan the QR code to enter your competition details today. We look forward to discussing your weekly #5cast selections in the comment section below. Hello, and you're all very welcome along to the latest edition of the Champ.ie Horse Racing Podcast, Season 7, Episode 21, would you believe? This week's show is all about Red Mills Day at Gowran Park on Saturday, and we're going to look through the entire card with 8 brilliant races to look forward to, and a big thank you, as always, to our partners, Gowran Park, Doyle Sports, EJ Menswear, Shamrock Thoroughbreds, McCafferty's Irish Bar and Midlands Travel. As mentioned, we're going to look ahead to the 8 big races on the card at Gowran on Saturday, and we're going to be hearing from our very special guest this week, Andrew Slattery, who's got some nice runners on the card, and let's get a sneak preview of what Andrew will be talking to us about later in the show.
Like I could see him being a Tayesta's horse down the line now. That's where I could see him. You know, he's that type of horse. Loves his jumping, loves galloping. So I'm looking forward to Saturday to see really what he's made of.
Yes, looking forward to hearing Andrew Slattery later on the show in that full interview with Barry. Barry, to kick off the show, we've got a couple of competitions to tell our listeners about. Firstly, we'll tell them about the one on Red Mills Day and their chance to win. And after that, I'll give them the final chance to win, of course, in our fabulous trip to Cheltenham on Gold Cup Day.
Absolutely. We've extended that for a week, Dave. So if you haven't entered our Cheltenham competition, now is the time to do so. But in terms of Red Mills Day, fantastic giveaway. It's very simple to enter. First and foremost, Dave, let us know down below on this episode the winner of the Red Mills Trial Hurdle and the winner of the Red Mills Chase 2026. So your predictions down below. And the winner, Dave, thanks to Jane Davis and all the team at Red Mills, is a fabulous new Red Mills jacket and a €100 voucher as well for the Red Mills store. So really good prize, Dave. Thanks very much to Jane and the team. We'll be hearing from Jane a little bit later in the show as well. But if you're not in, Dave, you can't win. So let us know your predictions down below, the hurdle and the chase winner on Red Mills Day Gowran Park on Saturday.
Absolutely. And of course, we want to give you one final chance to win that trip to Cheltenham. And here's how you can do so.
To begin with the chance of winning an all-inclusive trip for two to the 2026 Cheltenham Festival in association with Midland Travel, Ireland's leading horse racing travel specialist. Simply subscribe to Champ.ie on YouTube if you haven't already, and scan the QR code on screen and answer the following question. Who won the 2025 Cheltenham Gold Cup? Was it 1. Galopin de Champ, 2. I Know the Way You're Thinking, or 3. Marine Nationale? Register your competition details today, including your YouTube username. Don't forget, you must subscribe to Champ.ie on YouTube to qualify. The competition winner will be announced on Thursday, the 12th of February. Best of luck and be lucky.
Yes, and that lucky winner will be announced on next week's show. And of course, you'll be on your way to the Cheltenham Festival for the Gold Cup Day. And what a prize that is. And we wish you all of the best of luck. Those of you who haven't entered, we're giving you an extra week to do so. Right, Barry, let's kick off. It's a great day of racing. Red Mills Day at Gowran Park. We've had the Tayesta's Day behind us. That was a huge success. The crowds, firstly, that turn up, they're amazing, aren't they, on Red Mills Day? Okay, the gate is free, but nonetheless, it's a massive crowd and a massive atmosphere on the day, and we're expecting the same on Saturday.
Yeah, look, Tayesta's Day obviously falls on a Thursday, but I suppose Red Mills Day have the advantage of it being on a Saturday, so everyone's off. Crowds from all around the southeast and beyond, and I suppose the hurdle and the chase has thrown up some really interesting winners in recent times. Of course, the hurdle winner last season, Kit Spuhel, went on to win the Cato Star super jumper over a fence this season, and could go to Cheltenham with a big chance as well. Tiupu, of course, has won on Red Mills Day in the past as well. He's going for another stairs hurdle. So it has thrown up some really good winners in the past. The first race, Dave, that we are going to take a look at is the 12:45, is the Burgage Stud Maiden Hurdle. It's for the 4-year-olds. But I just think it's fascinating that Paddy Toomey sends this, I suppose, Galloway Colt to Gowran Park in the first race on Saturday afternoon. And look at his rating on the level, Dave. He achieved, after just 3 runs, a rating on the level of 101, was second in list company at Leopardstown on his latest start, proven on soft over 1.25 miles. So he's a lot of class, this horse. And I think what he achieved in such a short space of time on the level would suggest that we could be dealing with quite a smart animal going over hurdles. He's a fantastic strike rate with his runners, I suppose, at Gowran Park and over jumps Paddy Toomey when he does send one. And I like the style of racing on the level, Dave. Look, he's not proven over 1.5 miles, but he is placed over 1.5 miles at Leopardstown, a good stiff track. So I have no issues around stamina, no issues around the ground. Second to Zara, and that's good form. And I just think he could be the class horse in the race. The front two, for me, I know you like Paul Townend and Willie Mullins in the opener, Dave, but I just don't think the Mullins representative or Manor de Miranda for Gordon Elliott, they don't strike me as potential world beaters. So I'm going to take a chance on the debutant over hurdles for Paddy Toomey. Interesting that he goes here, and Aravet for me in the opener, Dave.
Right, Barry. The second race of the card is the Red Mills Trial Hurdle. This is the Grade 3. And again, Willie Mullins strongly represented in the race. And Jigginstown House have got Stormheart. And that has been the choice of Paul Townend in this Grade 3 at the second race on Saturday.
Yeah, I suppose that the highlight entry really is Cowabunga, as Tony Mullins would call it. Really good form, obviously a good second, only beaten 2.5 lengths by the eventual winner of the Supreme Novices Hurdle, Copic de Boer. That was a really solid run. What we did see at Cowabunga, he looks really talented. We haven't seen him for over 300 days. He makes his return here. And I suppose if you take that form literally, Copic de Boer, just short of 160 in terms of a rating, what he went on to achieve last season. So that puts, I suppose, if he runs to that level of form, Cowabunga, or even improves, he's going to be the one to beat. But first run of the season, first run for over 300 days. For me, I'd swerve him. Kellistor as well. I think he's quite interesting, Dave, I suppose, with a view to a future mark. Also in the McManus Hoops. First run at Naas of the campaign. Last time out, that was just 3 weeks ago. He's interesting with a view to the future and handicaps. But Stormheart, for me, Dave, you mentioned Paul Townend could have a good afternoon. I think he brings the standout piece of recent form to the table. It was a career best effort at Limerick over 2.5 miles. He beat Riskaway by 6 lengths. That's good form on heavy ground, right-handed around Limerick. He steps back and trip here to 2 miles. I don't think that'll be an issue. This horse was fifth, Dave, probably to my mind anyway, the strongest triumph hurdle that I can ever remember. The likes of Majborough, Cargiza was in there. He ran an absolute cracker in the race to finish fifth, and he's 6 years of age now. He's that little bit stronger. And if you look, I suppose, at his overall form for Willie Mullins, especially on this type of ground, both wins for Willie has come on really testing ground, heavy ground. So the conditions a plus. He brings the standout piece of recent form, a career best effort last time. I think he'll take a lot of beating under the hands of Paul Townend. But good to see 8 runners in here, possibly a little bit of each way value, Dave. But Stormheart for me in the trial hurdle. Willie Mullins took it last year with Kits Boohel. I think Stormheart could be the one to be on.
Yeah, well, we'll look at the third race, which is the Surehall Mercedes Benz Novice Hurdle. It's a Grade 3, and we're going to hear from our very special guest, Andrew Slattery, later on in the show. But he's well represented here, and he's got a big chance, I feel, in this race with times are changing, Barry. Yeah,
look, Andrew was quite sweet on this horse's chances at the weekend, and a 7-year-old Dave with just 2 runs under rules. This horse, Andrew is convinced that he's improved plenty since that victory. Went off a big price, 25-1 when he won at Navan. He holds an Albert Bartlett entry. Andrew always likes his runners and winners at Gowran Park, so it might be the first time Dave this season that a Tipperary man comes to Kilkenny and takes a bit of prize money here. Of course, the devil you know, and Nicky English, a man from your neck of the woods, Dave, is heading to Cheltenham with a big chance for the Albert Bartlett. This horse as well could be heading to Cheltenham with a chance with a big chance in the Albert Bartlett should he get the job done here this weekend. And good to have this race on. It's a good addition to the card. Obviously, at Gowran Park was scheduled to be run earlier on in the week, so the card obviously now 8 races at Gowran. So looking forward to it. Small enough field, Dave, look at the shape of the race. Ballyfree, I think, could be the biggest danger. Times are changing. Is in there at 9-4. He's unexposed. Look at the third as well from the run at Navan. He can't dance. We liked its chances, Dave, in that competitive handicap debut at the Dublin Racing Festival. That's run really well to finish third. Ran a really good race for Gordon Elliott. That was also 8th in the champion bumper last season. He can't dance. That's, good, decent, reasonable piece of form. And it was obviously second to Call Cannon at the Dublin Racing Festival in that graded bumper last season. So I think the form looks okay. Times are changing to come forward for that run at Navan. To me, Andrew, we'll hear from Andrew later on in the show, but I'm going to make it my nap pick of the entire card at Gowran at 9-4. I think it'll take a bit of stopping. A fantastic jumper will stay all day and has come forward for his last run.
Yes, well, we're going to head into our very first ad break, and right after this, we are going to hear from our very special guest this week, Andrew Slattery, before we come back and preview the remainder of the Gowran Park card on Red Mills Day on Saturday.
Now boarding the train of thought.
Calling out. Injury lane. Statminster. Opinion Circus. Last Chance Cross. And decision time.
Back yourself. Doyle Sports.
It must be up there with one of your favourite race courses. Andrew Slattery, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Barry. Yeah, it is. Actually, someone asked me that today. It was my favourite. Gowran is up there as one of my favourite tracks, yeah. There's a lot of luck there.
What is it about Gowran that I suppose attracts you having runners there?
Well, I suppose the first thing is local. It's not that far away from us, and it's just really that the races are there to suit your horses. Really, that's really the main point. Anyway, no matter where you go, anywhere. But I do like to have one, even if we're maiden, a flat maiden for Gordon. With a good bit of luck there at that.
You mentioned the flat. Obviously, from a Gowran perspective, this weekend we have the Red Mills Hurdle, the Chase, and of course, really quality racing at Gowran Park on Saturday. But Andrew, you mentioned the flat as well. Talk to us. You're having your best season ever, I think, on the track in terms of the jumpers. So there's a good mix there. What are we looking at? Is it 70? Yeah, 70-30 in terms of flat to jumps?
70-30 flat, mainly flat, and we'd have breeze ups as well mixed up. We'd have over 100 horses right now at the moment, so we're actually very busy at the moment, and about 42-year-olds. So hopefully some of them works out fairly good.
You wouldn't be the first Tipperary man that likes to come into County Kilkenny and have a little bit of a raid. What about this weekend? Entries at Gowran Park. What's new? Parnell Street. Times are changing. He looked nice at Navan.
Yeah, he's nice. He's I actually don't know how good he is. He's when he came first, the first day the owners came to see him, he was there about 6 weeks, and I said to him, we might have to get this lad handicapped. And the minute I said that, he started to improve. And I don't know, he stayed 3 miles. I think he loved the ground. I won't say we fancied him at Navan, but I won't say we didn't give him no chance either. You know what I mean? We thought he was going to run a good race. I thought he may be placed, and he seems to be in good nick after. So we're hoping for a big run Saturday now.
That was his first run over hurdles, over 2 miles and 6 furlongs. He's entered up in the Albert Bartlett. I mean, is that the dream? And do you think he's up to that class?
This will tell us. This will tell us, because we liked him. We ran him in a bumper, and we knew he wasn't a bumper horse. And I was just with Adam Ryan was there, and he was kind of leading the amateur thing at the time. We're trying to get him a few rides, and we're just hoping maybe in heavy ground that he might. Now he ran a good race, but he did improve a lot out of his bumper. And going to Navan, like as I said, we thought it looked a good maiden hurl on paper. We thought he'd run well. The lads got a right few quid on him that day each way, and he wasn't going on fancied at the same time, but he's in great form after he touched wood. He jumps brilliant. Colin Bowe had him as a pointer, and he was well schooled, and I could see him being a Tayesnes horse down the line now. That's where I could see him. He's that type of horse. Loves his jumping, loves galloping. So I'm looking forward to Saturday to see to see really what he's made of. You know, we've nothing to lose. See what he's made of.
What do you make of the shape of the race?
It's much of a muchness, isn't it? Their form is a much of a muchness. I suppose we've two Gordons have, I suppose, similar profiles to us, and there's what else is it? A Flynn's horse from Cork, something similar. They all kind of have. It's just which one will step forward, isn't it? Really. And but look, I'm happy. I'm happy the race is in Gowran now, because today it was a talk that might be moved to Punchestown Wednesday, and I wasn't too happy with that, because if he is good enough for Cheltenham to be just getting a bit close, you know what I mean? A few days it make big difference, you know. And I'm happy. I think he loved the track in Gowran. He's a nice horse now. He's improving all the time, and I just don't know how good he is. So
Sounds like the dream is still alive. What about Cheltenham? Sometimes it can be nicer ground towards the back end of the week. I mean, do you think ground is very important to this horse? Do you think he would cope with a little bit of nicer ground?
He works well. He works well on the all weather gallops. He works up the Vic now and works well. He worked up the Vic last week and worked very well. But when he came to us, he had a leg injury before he came to us, and we're really kind of just trying to mind him on that. You know what I mean? But no, he's a good moving horse. I don't think it's necessary, but he's a strong galloper. You know, he'll gallop all day. You know. So.
What else are we likely to have at Gowran Park this weekend?
What's new is back from a break. It's his first run. He'll probably need the run. He's back from his winter holidays. This will be his first run. He's a horse capable of winning a few. I think he got very strong now with his break. I do think he'll need the run in this ground. So I'm hoping he runs a nice race, but it wouldn't surprise me if he blew up. And Pat Morrissey, who owns Parnell Street, stuck him in a few black type races because he has the dam at home. And I just stuck him in the Red Mills hurling. If it looks to be 3 or 4 runner race on tomorrow morning, he'll be declared. And if not, we might go to Thurles the week after for a listed race. That's the plan there.
Couple of the other jumpers in the yard that have won this season. We mentioned Gowran Park, Royal Hollow. She's liked it around Gowran.
Yeah, she is, and actually it was Pádraig and Margaret now were from they're very near the track. They're directors on the track, and I was actually going to enter for the Red Mills hurl, and we said the ground was so heavy I kind of didn't want to run her then, so she might go to Leopardstown the 2nd of March in there's a winner's race there in Leopardstown. That's to be her first run, but she'd go on any summer soft, but I don't know about this heavy ground now. I just wouldn't like to run her, especially her first run the season. So
you mentioned Margaret O'Rourke flew in the park. We haven't seen this horse for quite some time. Is he okay?
He's back fine again. He worked in the Curragh last week. I was going to give him a break anyway, but he pulled the muscle just after Punchestown, and we kind of got held up. We were going to actually a few days before the Arkle in Leopardstown. He was in it, and we kind of got held up a while. But he's back. He's worked in the Curragh. He'll either run in the Flying Bolt in Navan on the 28th, or the Native Upmanship Group 3 in Thurles over 2-4 on the 5th of March. That's the plan, if we have him ready in time. So he'll be back and then hopefully on to the Power Gold Cup and Punchestown then.
You really like this horse, Andrew. I mean, looking at his form over hurdles, form tied in with the yellow clay.
Yeah.
He was mixing it, wasn't he, in graded company over hurdles? How far he can go over fences?
I think he can go a long ways. I think I've been running him over 2 miles, and I do think he'd be better once I stretch him out. And he'd probably go for the Power Gold Cup in Fairyhouse. And I'd probably, like I done last year, I ran him in the 3 mile grade 1 in Punchestown at the back end of the season, and might do that. You know, he's a very fast jumper and gains a lot of ground in the air, you know, so that's where we are at the moment. Like, hopefully everything is right now. We haven't fitting down. We'll need to get a run into him before Fairyhouse. So that will be either Thurles or the Flying Bolt, one or the other.
Sunchart, how is he?
Great, going back for the Dubai Stakes in Naas. He's won it the last 2 years. So if there's on today, we'd be going well. He'd love this ground. He's a horse now, would love this ground. So that's the plan for him.
We have to mention Mullaglass because Desi Gibbons and the lads won't be too impressed if we don't. This horse, obviously some decent form. The last day at Naas, do you think maybe the ground was a little bit too testing for him?
The ground is a bit testing, and as well as that, he's a long year. He's a busy season, and we've put him on a break. We might have him back for Punchtown, but if he's back, he's back. We'll see. We might wait till after Punchtown. But no, he's a good horse. He's a bumper in the maiden hurdle one now, and no, he's paid his way, as I say.
Yes, and of course we're a couple of weeks out to the Cheltenham Festival. And speaking of Cheltenham, a horse that went right to the top when it came to the Cheltenham Festival, Faheen the Machine, Andrew, a horse you played a big part in this horse's career in his early days. Did you always think he was going to reach the top?
Yeah, we always liked him, Barry, and before Christmas he'd done a few nice pieces of work, and that time we used to give him a break. Around that time we never planned on running a 4-year-old until March time, mid-March kind of, and so we gave him his break and brought him back, and then he was getting niggly little problems, and he was on and off lames, not major but just small little things, and we had to back off him. And about in the March, April time, there was a school and bumper inside and told us, and we said we better do something with him before we let him off. We give him a run around the school and bumper before we let him off, and we had only about a month's work done with him, and we brought him in. Roger Quinlan, who was riders that time, rode him, and I think it's a fairly good school and bumper. I think Willie had a few in it. I think there was a lot of talking horses in it, and we jumped him off out the back, and he took off coming across the top and drew away from everything. I said to Roger Quinlan, I says, would he win a pint? He says he'd win the 4-year-old bumper in Punchtown, and we hadn't the guts to go for it. So I went and got a hunter cert, and he won in Ballysteen as he liked. So that was really fine then with us. He was sold next morning, more or less.
And to see him go on and achieve what he did on the track, I mean, that must have given you great pleasure.
Yeah, Willie had him a long time before he ran him now, because he didn't turn out for his bumper, I think, till Punchtown. He won his bumper 22 lengths or something. Yeah, it was great, and you'd imagine the heights he'd have made if they had to get a clear run with him. You know what I mean? He'd get 1 or 2 years out of action there as well. So you'd imagine it would have made a big difference. But lovely horse, great natured horse, great temperament, everything about him. Very simple horse to admit.
In terms of pointers at the moment that have, I suppose, come through your care recently, No Walkover is one won this season on the track for David Pipe. Is there any others running at the moment of note that came from the Slattery Academy?
We sold a nice Maxius horse to Jamie Snowden. I think he had a little injury. He's not running. Of last season's ones, then a few bumper horses. No, we really don't have as many pointers. With a couple of nice 4-year-olds now this year that probably won't run. We'll probably leave them to Daughton, and maybe 1 or 2 might run in bumpers during the summer, trying to keep up the strike rate a bit in bumpers. Whereas before we used to keep them all for pints, but now we might just go that route with that.
In terms of those younger horses, I suppose, is there any particular sires that you like at the moment in terms of pedigree, to follow when you're getting the stock in?
We have a few affinities now. I like affinities now, and there's a few. There's good, honest horses, and not as big the Poet's Word, obviously. I have 2 of those. They're nice. He's a sire's going well, and Crystal Ocean's nice sire, nice filly by Crystal Ocean that probably won't run for a couple of weeks, but she's nice. And there's a few nice sires, but we're more flat orientated. We buys a lot of horses for the dirt now in America, and we've had a lot of look out of them now. They've gone on and done well. A We had Heart of Honour there. He's running the Saudi Cup now, and we had a horse Omaha Front that's after winning 2 now in Dubai. Andrew actually won them the last day. With a horse called Susset was beaten first time out in the Maiden last Friday night. So that we kind of buy some of them in America, and a good few dirt horses, a couple of lovely ones this year now. So as well as that, so more so, like, so we wouldn't have as many pointers now if we had 10, I suppose, as many as we'd have. Whereas before, at that time, it would be 20, 24, at that time, but not the big numbers anymore.
In terms of the flat season, then, I suppose, what horses at the moment are you really starting to get excited about seeing out for the start of the flat campaign?
Well, we got Powerful Nation gelded, and he is very, very talented. If I have a Group 1 horse, he's it. And he just got a bit coatish last year and got a bit out of hand, and we just had to geld him. And he's back this year now and everything. Like, he's still strong, but I think he's a very talented horse. Very, very talented. I don't think we've seen anything the best of him yet. He's the one now. If I'm going to have a Group 1 horse, he's one. But a couple of lovely 2-year-olds now, they've started to work, and they seem to be ahead of last year's bunch. So hopefully now the way they're going.
In terms of Powerful Nation, what are you thinking plan wise?
Well, I have to wait for good ground. Usually there was a race in Dundalk that you could start them off and to give them a run, but I don't think they have any race kind of this year for them. I can't see it, and so it'll probably be Naas or maybe the Cork Sprint in Cork if the ground is nice. But be one of those. But he's back in. He's ready to go. He'll be ready to go in a couple of weeks anyway. So
we're obviously talking about Gowran Park, a horse that's made a big impression in Gowran Park on 2 occasions, 2 from 2 at Gowran. Eastwatch, he looks nice.
He is nice, yeah. He's back in. I actually done it with Smooth Tom. He's a horse once a mile and a quarter, and I'm actually going for the Lincoln with him because I think on soft ground he'll go on the ground, and I think that type of horse you want for the Lincoln. So that's where he'll head next. He's on the 15th of March. He'll be heading to Lincoln. Both him and Highbury CC have 2 nice horses for the Lincoln, and maybe Smooth Tom. He's probably going up a bit in the weights now, but maybe Smooth Tom. We might have 3 for the Lincoln. Bit of luck. Is there
any of the any 2-year-olds in particular that you are looking forward to seeing? I suppose what are they by?
Oh, nice Supremacy filly who'll be out early. The lovely Sioux Nation colt. They're just a couple, like, it's early yet, but they're just showing a bit now of an Invincible Spirit filly, Starman filly, and a State of Rest filly. Those ones now are showing that they're ready to go. And I have a Bayside by colt that actually he's not bred to be fast, but he's showing a lot of talent at the moment. They're bred to want to trip, but he's showing a lot of talent at the moment.
Yes, and speaking about set runners on the flats, you've an early start next Thursday, Andrew, because one horse that has been flying the flag for you over in Bahrain, Cloud Seeker. What a servant he's been.
Yeah, he's good. I think he's 7-1 for us. Yeah, he runs next Thursday. We're flying out Tuesday morning. He 2 good runs. He was 4th. He was very unlucky. He got beat the first day. And he good run second over 9 furlongs the last day, which would be a bit short of his best. So he's back over a mile and a quarter now next Thursday. He had a bit of a setback. He got a drop over there, and Mark Galler is looking after him for us, and he tells me he's in top form. So he's won 20 grand out there already, so he's paying for his trip. It'd be nice to win one now. I think he runs again the 5th, and then he'd be coming home back for flat season. We'll give him a little break and get him ready. But like, he was very, very unlucky the first day. He should have won off the plane, the first day. There was really a race left behind, but hopefully we'll make amends before he runs in I think an 80 grand race I think next week, and he runs a 100 grand race the 5th. So hopefully we notch up one of them.
Just back to the jumps, Andrew. Gowran Park this weekend. Times are changing. It sounds like you're expecting a big run from your novice herder at the weekend at Gowran Park. But building up to the festival itself, looking forward to meeting you in person once again down in Alison's Rossgrey. Kenny, of course, and the lads there do a fantastic job with the preview, and always great fun. Not just talk about horse racing, but it tends to break out into a little bit of a sing-song as well, Andrew.
That's it. Yeah, it's a good night out. Great night. Great bit of fun. So we look forward to it.
What has stood out for you, I suppose, looking ahead to the festival itself? What horses have impressed you most this season across the board?
I tell you, Barry, it's just hard. The ground's been very heavy, and like to have a standout. I suppose Willie the horse there, Mighty Park. I think he won Maiden Hurl 32 lengths or something like this. Again on heavy ground, I think, but like it's just hard. I suppose Willie's juvenile hurler looks rock solid all the time. The horse won in Leopardstown there the last day again. He looks rock solid and looks tough, but like you'd be just wary about the ground the way it's been at the moment. And horses are having very hard races. You know that's another thing to take into calculation. Like they're working twice as hard out of that ground, and that was my thing with Fleur in the Park too, was kind of keeping them away from this ground. I was as well, because it's tearing the heart out of a lot of horses. It's hard work. This time of year. So like, all depends on how them horses come out of them trials, because that's the big thing. Like, they're ready to take it or not. You know what I mean?
For the National Hunt season, he sounds like he could be the one that you're really looking forward to heading into the spring. I suppose class-wise, he's a classy animal, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. But look, he's up. I think he's rated 145 or 6. Like, he's up there. He has to run in good races now. Like, he has still only 3 races won with him. I'd like to have, a horse that rate, you'd like to have a bit more, but he's just stuck to running in them kind of races now. So he's a horse I wouldn't mind a little nibble at a Galway plate now if his owner would let me, but I do. He may not let me. But with something in the back of my mind the whole time, I think it'd be a lovely horse for a Galway plate.
Yes, and you're very welcome back. And whether it be on the flat or National Hunt, the Andrew Slattery team certainly are making a wonderful go of it, and continued success to them. And a big thank you to Andrew for coming on the show with us this week. Right, let's move on then. And before we do, a big thank you as well to Alonit, of course, who power our social media clips, and keep an eye out for plenty of those as we build up in the coming weeks, of course, to the Cheltenham Festival. Barry, we'll move on, because the 4th race on the card at Gowran is the Albert Bartlett Triple Crown Handicap Hurdle. What have you picked out here for us?
Yes, 2 miles and 4 furlongs, the distance, Dave. Competitive race, 15 runners. Ground is obviously going to be important. Gavin Cromwell, Dave, lots has been made about stable form, but he had a treble on to yesterday. Likes his winners at Gowran as well. 5 winners in the month of February. So signs maybe that the Cromwell stable starting to hit a bit of life, crucially at the right time as we head towards the festival itself. But as mentioned, Gavin had a treble on to yesterday. The King of PRs, I think, is an interesting horse, Dave. 18 pounds lower over hurdles than his chase mark. I think he could be on a good mark of 114 over hurdles, Dave. Interesting, they revert back to hurdles here and step this horse up and trip to 2 mile and 4 here. He's, I suppose, a little bit unexposed beyond 2 miles. It might actually be what he needs. He ran at Gowran Park earlier on in the campaign when he was brought down. That was his first run of the campaign. 3 runs over fences this season. And look, the form on the ground, I think, is a big point with this horse. 5 wins in his career, all 4. Well, 4 of his 5 wins have come on soft or heavy ground. So he ticks a lot of boxes. Gavin took this race last season as well with Bridie's Bow. Keith Donoghue knows this horse well. I thought there was lots to like. As I said, the angle of stepping up and trip, reverting back over hurdles on this type of mark, I think, is interesting for a trainer that won the race last season and had a treble on to yesterday.
Yes, absolutely. Fascinating race it is. We move on to the bumper, Barry, and the bumper on the card is the Ronan Lawler Memorial Flat Race. And off air, you've pointed out a couple of little key nuggets here before we even look at the runners. Is that Harry Swan, a significant jockey booking by Tony Mullins for Red Acres Georgie in this bumper, and William Patrick obviously will be probably at the top of the market for this one with Lucy Old aboard. And I'm not sure if Patrick Mullins will have some all-weather ground to travel at Gowran, Barry, like he did it. Limerick during the week, plenty of a talking point it was.
Talking point. Wouldn't think there's any all weather in Gowran Park anyway. The mud will be flying, and obviously Patrick will be hoping to win this for the late Ronan Lawler as well, of course, who was Loughlin Bridge man, and friends of Patrick as well. So always like to target a nice horse at this, and he rides this Lucille de Boer, who was a good second last time at Punchestown, and the form has worked out okay because the winner went on to run okay behind Moon Verron at Leopardstown. So that form looks okay, but you did mention Harry Swan. I just thought it was an interesting jockey book, and we'll see how significant it is at the weekend. But Red Acres Georgie, a horse that was a 14-length winner, Dave, of a point-to-point for Mick Goff at Ballindennis early on in its career. And look, there's a possibility this horse might come forward plenty. He was quite keen and fresh early, bit gassy at Punchestown on his first start in the track for Tony Mullins. So entitled, I thought, to come forward. The only 6-year-old in the lineup as well. Willie Mullins, I know he targets a nice horse at this race, but we've seen some interesting results over the last couple of years. Brighter Days Ahead actually won this race in the past as well. So it can throw up a nice horse. I just thought in terms of an each-way bet here, maybe Red Acres Georgie might be the way to side. Highly regarded, obviously, when it won its point-to-point by 14 lengths plus, and might just come forward. Might have just needed that run at Punchestown last time. I think that could definitely close the gap with the favourite, what's likely to be the favourite for Willie Mullins and Patrick Mullins, Lucille de Boer. But I'm going to side with Tony's horse each way here, Red Acres Georgie, in the bumper, of course, at Gowran Park on Saturday.
Yes, we move on and we look at the Grade 2 Red Mills Chase, where Imperial Pab, Harry, is likely to go off a short price favourite for Willie Mullins and Paul Townend.
Yes, Willie Mullins, what a record he has in this race, Dave. And last season, of course, Classic Getaway winning the race. He's looking to retain his crown. But Imperial Pass, somewhat, Dave, maybe of a forgotten horse. Hard to believe this horse actually won on 5 occasions in Grade 1 company. And right-handed at Limerick, of course, in that Faheen Grade 1 Novices Chase. He beat Jordans by 4 lengths on this type of ground. So I've no issues with the ground. If you're looking at official ratings and Safair, right down the bottom of the weights here for Gordon Elliott. He comes out, I suppose, £3 better off on race conditions, the Gordon Elliott representative. But I just think the class horse in the race is going to be Imperial Pass. I mean, he was rated 163 over hurdles, Dave. Didn't quite achieve the same rating over fences as of yet. I just think he's the class horse in the race. Willie Mullins, as mentioned, tremendous record in the Red Mills Chase over the last decade. He's gone for 5 in a row in the race. Classic Getaway winning the race last season. I think it's straightforward. I think Imperial Pass is the class horse in the race, going right-handed on this type of ground. Over 2.5 miles, Dave. I see this horse not quite as a 3-miler. I know Willie Mullins has tried him over 3 miles in the past, but I think 2.5 miles is his trip, and I think class will come to the 4. And Willie Mullins could land 5 in a row in terms of this race, the Red Mills Chase.
Absolutely. He could have a super day on Saturday on the Red Mills card. Right. We're heading into our next ad break, and right after this, we're going to hear from Jane Davis of Red Mills to tell us all about the action on Saturday.
And it's Kitzbühel going on to win the Red Bull Stride weighted hurdle. Rob journey with me, and it is Classic Getaway. Those restoring winning ways in the Red Bull's Chase.
Yes, you're very welcome back, and I'm delighted to be joined by Jane Davis of Red Mills as we continue our build-up to the Red Mills card at Gowran Park on Saturday. Jane, it's great as always to have you on the show, and as we were saying off air, it's hard to believe it's 12 months has passed and we're back again at Red Mills Day.
I don't know where the time seems to go, but yeah, absolutely, we're looking forward to it, so all systems go.
Right, Jane, tell us all about Saturday, because I know there's a lot of planning and a lot of work goes into the day itself. A big day, a great card as well, and we'll get to the card in a couple of moments, but tell us the rundown of what's happening on Saturday.
look, it's the day that we look forward to. The second kind of Christmas is over and we hit the new year. It's all roads lead to Gowran in the new year. And as I said on Tayesta's Day, where would we be with the New Year blues if it wasn't for Gowran, when you have the likes of Tayesta's Day and Red Mills Day to look forward to? So it's a huge day on our calendar. I've said this many times, but it really is a day to be able to give back to the industry. It's a day to say thank you and just recognise the support that we get both locally and up and down the country. So it's probably one of the longest running Irish sports sponsorships on the calendar, definitely in Irish racing anyway. It goes back a very long time. Joe Connolly himself is chairman at the racecourse now, well over 25 years. And, Gowran is a home from home for us at Red Mills. We're only a stone's throw between Gore's Bridge and Gowran. And we have our pet food factory on the outskirts of Gowran as well. So all very local and means a lot to us. And fingers crossed now, weather plays ball and we get going for a great day.
Jade, it's the 5th year, of course, sponsoring the gate at Gowran. It's a big undertaking, but the crowd really do turn out in their numbers for such a quality day's racing.
Yeah, they do. We've been blown away by the support the last couple of years, and definitely partnering with Eddie Scally and his team in Gowran. I mean, it makes life so much easier for us. They're so proactive. The initiative to sponsor the gate was taken after COVID, and we've been, like I said, the response every year has been so strong. The tickets tend to sell out really quickly. Although it's free in, people have to still register to download their tickets, so it still does create that sense of demand. There's still a value on getting in through the gate. And to see, I suppose, the audience engage in racing, engage in just the social side of racing, the entertainment, but huge crowds in the stands for the races, huge crowds around the parade ring, very kind of a tuned in audience to what's happening on the track as well as all the social bits. So yeah, it's brilliant. And it's a day that I suppose we've worked hard on as well with Eddie and his team. There's a lot of elements to be enjoyed. We've got all of the style stakes as well going on. And of course, this year it is also Valentine's Day. So I'm assuming there's going to be a couple of people making a day of it as well and making a weekend of it. So plenty to look forward to.
Of course, we're just a couple of weeks away from Cheltenham as well, Jane. We're counting down to the festival, the Supreme, in a couple of weeks' time, 3 weeks from next Tuesday. And of course, it must be a very busy time for you guys at Red Mills as well, fueling quite a lot of these future champions that we'll see over the 4 days of Cheltenham.
Yeah, without a doubt, the seasons all tend to run one into the other, everything on the horse racing side. And then we're looking at some of the sport horse events that are taking place all over the globe as well, 12 months of the year. But from a racing perspective, like all the racing fans, this is where it really starts to heat up. And as we know, all eyes do lead to Prestbury Park in a couple of weeks' time. So look, for us, I've said it as many times as well. It's the pride that goes into creating a product and creating products and feed products that fuel these horses. They are the athletes. They're the stars of the show. They're doing as much training behind the scenes that many of us don't even get a glance to see. And that's really where the role of nutrition plays such an important part, that they can withstand the work that it takes to be as fit as they need to be to perform at the highest level and to perform, recover and perform again. We watch these horses on their journey throughout the season with a couple of big end of season festival targets in mind. What these trainers are able to do to deliver them at their peak for these days, that they're no different to any sports athlete. What they put in is the fuel to allow them to be able to put the work in at home, and particularly in these tough conditions. We've seen really challenging ground conditions since off the back of Christmas. It feels like it hasn't stopped raining since January, and that's tough. Horses need stamina. They need to be strong. Their muscles need to be able to recover. Their cardiovascular systems to be able to kind of withstand that extra exertion on heavy ground. But you'd have to say, the last couple of weeks watching racing, even the jockeys, they've been exceptional in terms of how they've taken care of horses, ridden tactically, and we've still seen some great racing, some great finishes.
Absolutely. Now, there's a bit of a competition you're going to tell us about, and for all listeners who are involved in that competition, all you've got to do is to give us your selection give us your selection of the Red Mills Trial Hurdle and the Red Mills Chase the Grade 2 on Saturday. Jane, you're going to tell us a little bit more about the prize and offer.
Yeah, absolutely. So for your viewers and your listeners, we've got a €100 voucher for the Red Mills store and a Red Mills merchandise pack. So a jacket and a beanie from the Red Mills range. So yeah, get commenting and tell us who you think is going to win the 2 feature races at the weekend in the comments below. And that's how you enter.
Oh, Jade, before we let you go, what do you like on the card yourself on Saturday? Because we've had a very good entry for the 8-race programme, and particularly the 2 Red Mills races.
Yeah, absolutely. 8-race card, as you say. So kickoff starts a little bit earlier. 12:45 is the first race. Red Mills Hurdle comes up second on the card. 8 runners, so a really, really strong field. Some interesting contenders there, like the likes of Cowabunga. Like we haven't seen him, I think, since he won his maiden hurdle almost a year ago. A very promising looking horse at the time, having come from France. And I think even if you look back to some of the more recent form, I think there's the 3rd, 4th, and 5th out of the Limestone Lad Hurdle out in Naas as well will line up as well. So there's plenty of form there to be franked. So yeah, I think there's a lot to look at there. Stormheart obviously would be one that would stand out for Willie Mullins as well. And even Yeman for Gavin Cromwell, like last seen in the Tayestes Chase. So he's obviously making a reappearance back at Gowran as well. So great to see the hurdle so well supported. And then the chase, I mean, look, to get the chance to see the 5-time Grade 1 winner Imperial Pass make his seasonal debut in Gowran will be one I think everyone will have their eye on, and obviously taking on last year's winner in Classic Getaway as well. So I always like to see them come back to try and defend their titles, and it's something we get a really big kick out of as well, is like seeing where the graduates from these races go on to do and what they go on to do in their future careers. So yeah, a lot to look forward to.
Absolutely. Well, we've seen some really great stars win over the years at Red Mills race day. Jane, we want to wish you the best of luck with Saturday, and hopefully it's a roaring success. And I know you'll be looking forward to Cheltenham in a couple of weeks, but thank you for taking the time out to join us on the show this week, and the best of luck with the day on Saturday.
Appreciate it. Thanks a million.
McCafferty's traditional Irish bars are located across Ireland, the UK, Spain and the United Arab Emirates. McCafferty's bars provide the perfect backdrop and atmosphere to watch all horse racing and sports events, serving traditional Irish food and music played 7 days a week. Come to McCafferty's for the crack and stay for the experience. Check out mccaffertysbars.com.
Yes, and you're very welcome back, and a big thank you to Jane Davis, and the very best to look to her and Red Mills on Red Mills Day on Saturday. Great day's action to look forward to. We've 2 more races to look at on the card, and Barry, the next of those is race 7, which is the Beginner's Chase, and not a bad entry for this one.
Yeah, King Alexander, I thought, ran a fine race. There was 4 spread across the track on Tayestes Day. Thought they went steady early, and there was 4 involved in the finish. He ran a good race over at Gowran Park, of course, over fences. He could be an interesting one. Obviously, Paul Townend booked for the ride, but Henry de Bromhead has a good record in the race as well. But I did think that Champagne Jury was the way to side. He was a winner on Tayestes Day, the first leg of the treble for Gavin Cromwell. And this horse is a little bit of back class over hurdles. They've only beaten the length at Leopardstown last spring behind Honesty Policy, who's gone on obviously to achieve a rating of 156 over hurdles and is currently second favourite, Dave, for the Stairs hurdle. So I thought Champagne Jury, if you're looking at his back class, I think he's a horse that's made for a fence. 2 of his 2 wins basically have come on heavy ground as well. He's the course form, as well as that open trip 3 furlongs as well. That didn't appear to be a standout, potential superstar lurking here for me. I think King Alexander's overall form is fine. There's probably nothing more than that. And I just take a chance on Champagne Jury. Gavin Cromwell, as I said, treble on Tayestes Day. He could be set up for a nice day once again. This is a nice horse, Champagne Jury, and I suspect he'll achieve a much higher rating over fences than 124, what he achieved over hurdles. So he's a nice horse, and interesting that form tied in with Honesty Policy. I think he'd be, for me, in race 7.
Final race on the card is going to be a handicap chase, Barry, and likely to go off there. Top of the market is Slán Guibh Galair in the JP Silks, but there's plenty of interesting runners in here, and maybe one down at the bottom is one that you'll be siding with.
Yes, Petty King, Eddie Cawley is 2 in the race. Now, he can be somewhat of a handicap plot master, Eddie Cawley. Now, this horse, look, he's been a little bit frustrating to follow. 6 runs over fences, yet to get his head in front over fences. He's 10 years of age now. This is a horse that always had a little bit of talent, I thought, Dave. Petty King, right down the bottom of the weights. 10 stone 1, Philip Enright. He's a particularly good striker when teaming up with Eddie Cawley. And I thought, look at his 3 runs this season, Dave. All have come over hurdles, and 2 of those runs were quite encouraging at good tracks, good fair tracks, Navan and Leopardstown. And £4 lower over fences than his hurdles mark of 106. I mean, he did peak, Dave, at a rating of 115. So I just think right down the bottom of the weights, he could be interesting with Philip Enright on board. His only win, his sole victory over hurdles came on testing ground. And I just thought there was signs of life there this season in 2 of his 3 runs over hurdles to suggest that he could be potentially well treated off his current mark of 102 over fences. Interesting with Philip Enright booked for the ride.
Yes, absolutely. Well, that is a look at the card, of course, on Saturday. It's a cracking day of action, and really looking forward to top quality racing at Gowran Park. Barry, nap and next best selection for the weekend. What do we like?
Well, I'm going to go nap at Gowran Park. I'm going to go at Times Are Changing. Has that Albert Bartlett entry. Our special guest, Andrew Slattery, of course, very, very shrewd, likes to have his winners at Gowran Park, one of his favourite tracks. And this horse is a big chance, I think, on the ground. He's come forward for that Navan victory. The form looks okay through the lines of He Can't Dance. So 9-4 looked reasonable for me. That's the nap pick for the Slatterys. And Stormheart for me, I just think he brings the best piece of recent form to the race in that Red Mills trial hurdle. He's rock solid form if you look back even to the days when he was a juvenile 5th in that triumph. And I just think 6 years of age, that little bit stronger, a really good finisher of his races. That's going to stand him in good stead on heavy ground over 2 miles at Gowran. He's the one to beat there, I think, in the Red Mills trial hurdle. And one just to throw into the mix elsewhere, at Punchestown on Sunday, if declared, Daydream Nation, I thought was an interesting runner for the Harveys off 118, handicap debutant in that 402. At Punchestown, going right-handed. He won at Gowran Park earlier on, actually, in the campaign. He's interesting. And Stars End as well across the pond for the Hobbs team in that novice hurdle at Ascot. He was interesting. He's been well back, Dave, and he's one to maybe side with across the pond. But interesting, John Bond, Dave, heading up to 2.5 miles at long last. He should take the beating, obviously, in that feature at Ascot.
Yeah, it should take a bit of whacking. I'm going to go with Stormheart and Slánnig with Galair for the 2 selections for this weekend on the racing front. Right, before we finish up, Barry, a great guest on the road to Cheltenham during the weekend, Jeremiah McGrath, and we got some really good insight there. And we're back again with the road to Cheltenham. But I suppose more importantly, from next week on and the lead up into Cheltenham, our podcast for the next couple of weeks, it's going to be all about trying to find and break down the races at Cheltenham. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it certainly is, Dave. Look forward to speaking to many special guests in the coming weeks, Dave. I do believe next Wednesday is our show building up to the championship races at the festival itself. We'll be looking at, say, the novice races the following week, and then a look, I suppose, the following Wednesday at the handicap races, and we'll have a better idea, I suppose, what's going to be going in the handicaps, etc. then. So looking forward to that. And very interesting special guest who had a double across the pond coming up on Monday's show as well. So stay tuned on that. Jerry McGrath, really good speaker, fascinating insight into the team from Seven Barrows on Monday's show last. Was one of my more enjoyable episodes. He gave a lot of insight into those Nicky Henderson runners. And could we see Willie Mullins sending one over to challenge Constitution Hill on Friday, Dave? That'll be interesting.
I'm loving this. 40,000. Willie comes out and says, yeah, I'm sending one over. Why not? He's not going to let Nicky just go to the table and have all the cake with Constitution Hill. Well,
listen. Willie has enough on his plate now this side of the water this season.
He might have,
Constitution Hill, I'd say.
He might have, but he does love to throw an odd old...
That's fun. It's great fun.
It's a bit of crack, you know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting. Right, that's it from us. Remember, next week on the podcast, we will be announcing the lucky winner to the trip for 2 to Cheltenham on Gold Cup Day. And from myself and Barry, we hope you've enjoyed the show. And
Dave, we'll eventually get around to it. Those 5 cast winners as well. That is coming up next week as well. So just been snowed under. So look, good prizes.
It'll be like Christmas next week.
Breakfast with the Shark Hanlon next week. That's one of the prizes. 2 nights stay to the Fairways Hotel in Dundalk. With a trip to the races as well in Dundalk, a 12-month subscription to the Irish Field as well, and a voucher from McDonagh Shopping Centre, which was hoping to have that in someone's hand heading to Red Mills Day, but we do have Shamrock Chase Day around the corner as well on the eve of the festival itself. So look, they will be all announced next week. And as I said, some lucky viewer, Dave, is going to head to the Cheltenham Festival thanks to Midland Travel, Stephen and the team. We will announce that next week. And just to note, if you're watching this on a phone device and the QR code is no good to you, click the link in the podcast description to enter that competition. If you're not in, you can't. We've had a huge interest, Dave, by the way, in that competition. But someone's going to be heading to Cheltenham.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, it's bye from myself and Barry, and have a great weekend.
From Dundalk to Longchamp, from the Galway races to the Breeders' Cup, Shamrock Thoroughbreds recently celebrated their 100th winner, and Ireland's leading racehorse syndicate has taken owners all over the world. Shamrock Thoroughbreds founder Stephen Thorne remarkably won the Winter Trainers' Championship at Dundalk during his first season as a racehorse trainer. To experience success with Shamrock Thoroughbreds and Stephen Thorne Racing, check out shamrockthoroughbreds.com.